the mightiest empire the world had ever seen. Imagine ruling the entire known world, an advanced economy, society, a flourishing culture, but then losing it all. The Rome collapsing not in one fiery crash, but a slow, agonizing unraveling. Why did it really fall? Stick around, you'll uncover the shocking reasons, and trust me, it's not just the barbarians at the gates. This is how a superpower dies from within. Rome at its peak ruled what they called the known world, stretched 5 million square kilometers, 70 million souls from Britain's misty shores to Syria's sun-scorched sands, with the largest professional army ever assembled. Its legions were unbeatable, its emperors godlike, yet by 476 AD it was gone, vanished like smoke. Well, was it? Not quite. This wasn't a sudden collapse, it was a slow bleed, a death by 1,000 cuts. Was it savage invaders, economic collapse, or something even wilder, like climate change? Regardless, the fall of the Western Roman Empire was the most single event that changed the course of history in the Mediterranean, and why it matters to us now, and why Rome never really died. Imagine Rome in its prime. Under Emperor Trajan in 117 AD, Rome ruled the known world. Its borders stretched like a lion's roar across continents. The Colosseum roared with blood and cheers. Its legions crushed enemies, its aqueducts defied nature, and its senate schemed in marble halls, inspiring empires for centuries. But what if I told you that the seeds of its destruction were already growing beneath the marble? But here's the kicker. Even at its height, cracks were forming. See, Rome's size was its strength, and its curse. You see, empires don't fall because they're weak. They fall when they're too big, too proud. Communication from frontier provinces like Gaul to the capital took weeks. Wars in Syria. Good luck managing that from Italy. By the 3rd century, Rome was a giant staggering under its own weight. Civil wars erupted like wildfires, emperors murdered, thrones snatched. They call it the crisis of the 3rd century, a bloody mess of 29 emperors in 50 years, most dying with a dagger in their back. By 284 AD, Emperor Diocletian split the empire into two, west and east, hoping to save it. Spoiler alert, it didn't work for long. But why split an empire that's already unstoppable? Because chaos was brewing. Let's rewind to the crisis of the 3rd century. After Emperor Commodus died in 192 AD, began the crisis of the 3rd century. 29 emperors in 50 years, most stabbed, poisoned, or overthrown. Inflation spiraled so bad Roman coins became worthless junk. Diocletian's split gave temporary relief west to him, east to Constantine, but the west was already rotting. Why? Enter the barbarians. Forget the Hollywood version of these barbarians. These so-called barbarians mostly weren't just wild men in loincloths. The word meant foreign speaker to the Romans, anyone who didn't whisper Latin. Most of them were Germanic tribes. Some were former allies, even Roman soldiers. But pushed west by the nomadic group called the Huns, they came seeking shelter, not war. For centuries Rome fought with them. Rome faced a devastating defeat at the Battle of Teutoburg Forest. Then the great Emperor Augustus decided to stop expansion and drew a line at the Rhine as a border between the Rome and the barbarians. Germanic tribes, Huns, and Visigoths pushed into Rome by something unexpected: climate change. Yep, drought and cold in Central Asia sparked the Great Migration, and Rome's borders couldn't hold. But here's the kicker. Those tribes didn't just invade. Sometimes, Rome invited them in. Picture this. Entire tribes flooding in, some begging for safety, others swinging swords. The Huns terrorized Eastern Europe, shoving groups like the Goths right into Rome's lap. In 376 AD, the Goths asked for refuge. Rome said yes, but treated them like dirt. Starving, they sold their kids for dog meat. That sparked the Gothic War. At Adrianople in 378 AD, Emperor Valens faced them and lost everything. 2/3 of his army. Dead. Him. Dead. Rome's invincibility shattered. Now Rome's bleeding out. And it's not just the barbarians. The empire overextended too many wars, too many provinces and too little cash. Taxes crushed farmers into poverty, elites hid their gold, and here's the wild part. Rome's economy ran on slaves. But after Trajan, expansion stopped. No conquests, no slaves, no growth. So Rome opened its arms to these tribes to come, settle, and fight for Rome, turning foes into fragile friends. The empire was a wounded beast now, but the real gut punch. In 410 AD, Alaric, a Visigoth king who'd once served Rome, turned on it. He'd had enough of broken promises. He besieged Rome twice, then sacked it, not with fire and slaughter. Mind you, Alaric admired Rome. He just wanted gold and land. 3 days of looting, and he left. But the message? Clear as a bell tolling doom. Rome couldn't protect itself anymore. And then Emperor Honorius of Rome didn't even live in Rome anymore, safe in Ravenna, didn't even flinch. Legend says he cared more about his pet chicken named Roma, no less than his dying city. True story? Maybe not, but it shows how detached Rome's leaders had become. Meanwhile, the Vandals struck next. From Poland, they swept into North Africa by 428 AD, seizing Carthage, Rome's breadbasket, and turned pirate, choking trade routes. The Visigoths grabbed Spain. By 476 AD, the West was a shell. Britannia, lost to rebels. Gaul and Hispania became barbarian kingdoms. But why couldn't Rome fight back? Climate change pushed the Huns. Greed starved the treasury, and leadership, a parade of fools and children. By 475 AD, the last emperor, a boy, Romulus Augustus, sat on a throne that meant nothing. A 16-year-old kid was deposed by Odoacer, a barbarian general. No epic battle, just a quiet handover. Rome, once the world's heart, was now Italy's backwater. Odoacer declared himself king of Italy. The Western Roman Empire was dead. Anticlimactic. But here's the twist. Rome didn't just vanish. The East Roman Empire, Constantinople, thrived as the Byzantine Empire under Constantine the Great outlived the Western Roman Empire by 1,000 years, until Mehmed the Conqueror took Constantinople and made it the capital of the Ottoman Empire in 1453 AD. That's a story for another day. But we can come to genuine conclusion that Roman Empire didn't really fall until 1453 AD. And yet, Rome's ghost lingers. The Catholic Church rose from its ashes, wielding power emperors envied. Charlemagne crowned himself a new Roman emperor in 800 AD. America's Senate, named for Rome's. Roads, laws, their language. Latin still echoes in French, Spanish, and Italian. So, there you have it. A titan brought low not by one blow, but by a slow rot-greed, invaders, and a world too vast to hold. So what really killed Rome? Overexpansion, economic breakdown, corruption and incompetent emperors, civil wars, barbarian migrations, and maybe Christianity? A controversial theory according to some historians. One god, one empire, but no divine emperor, which was what Roman people wanted. Did Christianity really weaken Rome's power? Depends who you ask. But one thing's for sure, once the emperors stopped being gods, people stopped treating them like one. Next time when you hear Rome fell in a day, you'll know better. This is history unraveling, raw and real. Loved this journey? Subscribe now, hit that bell, because we've got more tales to tell, from lost empires to hidden wars. Share this with a mate who'd geek out over it. Until next time.